In the 1980s, the US repealed laws that previously would have restricted companies from marketing heavily towards children. Many names took advantage of this change, but one of the most notable examples would be the half-hour-long toy commercials rolled out in 1984 for Hasbro's newest product, the Transformers. This is BigRigToys, and in this video we'll be going down the line of the Transformers evolution. This is by no means a comprehensive video, but if you feel that I left out something important, please let me know in the comments. One last thing, this is just the beginning of my YouTube journey, so if you enjoy this video, a like and subscribe would be appreciated. And if you want to help me get better equipment, I also have a KoFi in my bio. The Transformers first rolled into Kmart's and Sears nationwide in May 1984 after Hasbro acquired and improved Takara's Microchanger and Diaclone toy lines. Microchanger and Diaclone were converted from drones and piloted robots into real characters with their own personalities by comic writer Bob Budiansky, starting with the yellow Lamborghini, Sunstreaker. These robots would be separated into two factions known as the Autobots and the Decepticons. After the success of the first year of the Transformers, Hasbro rolled out the last of Takara's unused designs, including the Decepticon Combiner Devastator and the equally brutal Autobot Dinobots. Some of these imports weren't quite as successful, however, with the import of Jetfire or Skyfire leading to a legal battle with Bandai, where Hasbro had to make significant changes to the character in the show. This is also the year that the Autobot Combiner Superion debuted in toy catalogs, just in time for Christmas. In 1986, with the release of Transformers the movie, many of Takara's designs were ready to be discontinued, which forced Hasbro to take a crack at designing their own robots. The only real changes made by Hasbro, however, was to remove the die-cast from the Transformers. This year also saw the Autobot Combiners, Defensor and Computron, and the Decepticon Combiners, Menasor and Bruticus, hit shelves. As the 86 cast phased out in 1987, Hasbro took a new approach to their Transformers, focusing on toy line-wide gimmicks, giving each faction new design philosophies for their alt modes. The Autobots are given futuristic sports cars and jets, whereas the Decepticons become giant steel beasts. The gimmicks introduced this year include the Headmasters, whose heads turn into smaller robots, and the Target Masters, whose weapons turn into smaller robots, which does imply that G1 Megatron was a Target Master, but this is by no means a lore video. Following the Headmasters, Hasbro gave us the Pretenders in 1988, trying again to revitalize the formula. The Pretenders were small robots, often being known characters who would wear organic shells to blend in with alien species. The Pretenders often saw smaller toys held together with ball joints and simple transformations due to the shell gimmick. Nothing could help their sales this year, however, as the competition had left them shell-shocked. After the failure of their previous line, Hasbro decided in 1996 to shake up the Transformers concept. Instead of being cars that would unfold into giant robots, the Transformers took organic alt modes. The factions offered in this new Beast Wars series include the heroic Maximals, led by Optimus Primal, who face the brutal Predacons, led by Megatron, no relation. In addition to that, Beast Wars also gave us our first taste of the modern size classes, of which get progressively larger, being Basics, Deluxes, Megas, and Ultras. The second year of this line's run in 97 refined the idea, dropping mechanical and spring-loaded gimmicks in favor of manual conversions and bringing combiners back after 8 years. The next year also brought Transmetals, which were robotic animals with organic kibble. With Beast Wars being phased out in 2001, Hasbro needed a new line to take its place, and with the anime craze of the 2000s, out came Transformers Robots in Disguise. RID ended the Beast era, reintroducing modern vehicle alt modes. However, even with the return of the Autobots, only the Hasbro toy line would have Decepticons, which were mostly retools of old toys, leading to the spotty quality control of this line. In 2003, Takara took it upon themselves to give the first collector-oriented Transformers line, leading it with MP01, a figure that I actually have and quite enjoy. This masterpiece line stayed much larger than other lines, though inconsistent in scale, and used higher quality plastics, even bringing back diecast. This paired with the new height and complexity and the new articulated fingers and ankles led to the figures initially being well received. This continued in 2017 when Takara introduced Masterpiece's real spin-off, Masterpiece Movie. This line was introduced to give collectors high-quality representations of Michael Bay's designs, of which only third-party companies had attempted prior. Similarly, in 2024, Takara introduced MPG, offering new representations of more obscure characters. However, with the end of RID in 2003, Transformers introduced another show that would spawn a trilogy, Armada. Armada had far more anime inspiration than RID did, offering a new mecha-based design to each character and introducing the new Power Links gimmick, where larger figures could combine together. This also introduced the theme of larger gimmick-based toys throughout the trilogy. When Armada ended, its successor Energon was plagued with issues. While it followed Armada's mecha-like design theme, it also worked closer to G1 designs, often confusing fans due to character names being applied to the wrong design. This sale also struggled with sales, between the show being subpar and the lack of availability in many regions. Energon also released alongside Universe, which reissued primarily old molds to profit off Armada's success. The final installation of this series, however, Cybertron, is still widely appreciated to this day as one of the best Transformers toy lines. The series themes itself around lost colonies, which allows the toys to have drastically different styles while sticking to the same gimmick, thanks to the Cyber Key. The Cyber Keys would come with individual figures, and when plugged into the toy, doesn't have to be the one it comes with, it would activate a small spring-loaded gimmick while still preserving transformation complexity. Thanks to the licensed vehicles used in the RID line, in 2006, Hashtag managed to secure the license to use the files and designs for the Subaru Impreza, Dodge Viper, Jeep Wrangler, C5 Chevrolet Corvette, Mazda RX-8, Dodge Ram SRT-10, Honda S2000, Jaguar XK, Acura RS6, and the Ford Mustang. These designs ended up used in the Alternators line, where 1/24 scale models unfolded into the first realistic renditions of these characters. Similarly, licensed toys were also found in the Masterpiece line. Alternators also bore a rather gross spin-off in Japan. Kiss Players, which saw Autobots kissing little girls to gain power, was also rolled out in 2006. Using many alternator molds, these figures often also included PVC representations of the children to ride inside the car. When the 2007 movie was announced, a new line of toys was developed to release alongside the film. These toys had prominent vehicle kibble to invoke the feeling that these designs could really exist. They also kept a lot of the chunk from the Unicron trilogy, resulting in the weighty hand feel. A small series of Real Gear robots was also introduced, having small $5 toys turn into representations of real accessories, with watches even being functional. The next two movies had similar toy lines as well, with large gimmicky leader class toys and the brand new Human Alliance toys that turned into licensed vehicles with full interior that small humans included with the toy could fit inside. The fourth and fifth installments of the franchise had a much lower quality to the line, suffering from the same issues that would plague the Generations line around that same time. With the financial situation of Hasbro at the time forcing them to use much lower quality plastic, this resulted in the toys feeling significantly cheaper and breaking way easier. Speaking of Generations, this line was started with the idea of modernizing classic characters, along with the side goal of giving tie-in figures for the new High Moon games as well. The first wave would include both of these, in addition to being the first time that they would use the IDW designs for Drift and Blur. The revamp from classics that this line brought also changed the size classes, giving us Legends, Deluxe, Voyager, and Leader, as well as giving us our very first 2-foot-tall Titan. Around 2006 as well, Cartoon Network would release Transformers Animated. This was a stylized take on the series, which would be the last hand-drawn Transformers TV show. The toys reflected this style and managed to make remarkably good takes on these designs, offering toys that are still highly sought after to this day. After the cancellation of Animated on Cartoon Network, Hasbro would debut a brand new Transformers cartoon on their own network, The Hub. This cartoon was called Transformers Prime, and was intended to be a TV show first, with the studio considering not giving it a toy line in the first place. The toy line we got, however, managed to be incredibly accurate to the show, with the original first edition figures going for high prices online. Following the end of TFP, a sequel show would take its place, putting itself between the preschool-focused Rescue Bots and the preteen adult-oriented Transformers Prime. Most of the toys that would come from this new RID 2015 were intended for younger children with simple gimmicks or large easy toys. However, a small number made great screen-accurate representations of the characters. Alongside the RID 2015 tie-in toy line, Hasbro would kick off their Prime Wars trilogy with the Combiner Wars. This was around the same time as Age of Extinction as well, leading to similar quality control problems. This was an issue as well, however, considering that this line was based around Deluxes and Voyagers combining with each other to form larger combiners, meaning a lot of these smaller toys had to support a lot of weight. Combiner Wars would be followed by Titan's Return, a much more respected line, and my personal favorite. This line would be defined by the Titan Masters, which, like Headmasters, were small robots that turned into heads for larger robots. This line also saw each of its leader class toys become triple changers, regardless of the character actually being one or not. This line would also give the second Titan mold and the first Titan remold. The Prime Wars would then be capped off by the Power of the Primes toy line. This line would mash ideas from its predecessors, using the Titan Master mold to create Prime Masters that could be inserted into combiners. Note that this did not trigger any gimmicks. After this trilogy ended, Hasbro needed a new line to take its place, releasing 2 over the course of 3 years. The first of these would be Studio Series, which would be released for the 10th anniversary of the first Bay Transformers film, and offered budget-friendly but accurate takes on his designs. The War for Cybertron trilogy, released 3 years into Studio Series, would standardize what was previously luxury articulation and paint. Additionally, they would introduce a new size class labeled Commander. This series would then also receive 2 additional installations before being cancelled in 2022. Alongside the War for Cybertron trilogy, a new kid-oriented line would also hit shelves. Transformers Cyberverse took a similar role to RID 2015, but put significantly more care into the gimmicks and ensured the transformations were simple, but not patronizing. This would be followed by another similar line, Transformers Earthspark, which would see its own Nickelodeon show and give similar toys. Studio Series would also spawn 2 sublines. Studio Series Gamer Edition hit the shelves with the intent of giving better representations of game models than they could the decade prior, and Studio Series 86 would take to giving the definitive figures for the G1 Transformers. While Studio Series goes on to this day, and likely will for many years, the War for Cybertron trilogy would end after only 3. To take its place, Hasbro would release Transformers Legacy with the goal of making G1 style designs of newer characters. Legacy would have 3 installations, each with a slightly different weaponizer side gimmick. Legacy would also give us the final list of size classes, scrapping Legends and replacing it with Core Class. After the end of Transformers Legacy, Hasbro would give us the toy line that we have now. Age of the Primes would hit shelves in mid-2025, and followed a similar style to Legacy, even retooling many of its toys. Age of the Primes also puts a focus on the 13 Primes, the Greek pantheon-esque part of Transformers that I will do a separate video on because this is already page 9 of my script. That does, however, conclude this evolution, and if you made it this far into the video, I sure hope you enjoyed it. And this is my first long-form video on this channel, so if you want to leave a like and subscribe, that would help me a lot. And if you would like to help me upgrade my equipment, I'll also link my Ko-fi in the description. Thank you so much for watching.